Well, good morning and welcome to Cooking in the Kitchen with DC Coast to Coast and Boom Chang Records. This morning we've got a super special guest all the way from Manchester, actually driven up this morning via another gig, which I'm sure you'll tell us about. I'd love to introduce you this morning, George Borowski.
Hi everybody.
Now, did I pronounce that right?
Absolutely.
I'm so pleased. I've been worrying all week about that.
Well, it's a double F really. It's like turn off, so it's Borowski.
Borowski, is it?
Yeah, but it's absolutely fine as always.
Borowski. I like W's and things.
Yes.
Anyway, so good. Hey, welcome up to Newcastle.
Well,
Thanks for coming up this morning.
Absolute pleasure.
Really looking forward to hear from you today.
Thank you.
And enjoy. Have a cup of tea. I'm enjoying my cup of tea anyway.
Cheers, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Saturday it is. So, will you tell us a little bit about your life? Because I think you've had a very interesting life with regards to the music industry, and I would love to hear a little bit about it.
I have. I've been very lucky, really. When I was little, my mum used to sing in Russian.
Did she?
Because she had come from Russia originally and left after the revolution because they had to escape. And that's a story in itself. Met my dad in Poland, they got married, and then the war broke out, etc., etc. And there's a whole story there which will take
that sounds amazing.
3 or 4 hours to get through.
Right. And
so eventually after my dad joined the 8th Army and he was freed, became a prisoner of war first with Russia, then he was freed in 1941 when Russia joined the Allies. So I'm not going to go into the entire detail.
A lot of history there. Yeah.
So eventually they end up in England and I'm born in 1950 in Wales. Where there was a displaced persons camp there.
Really?
Where there was 2 doctors and 3 nurses who could speak Polish.
Right.
So that all the servicemen and their wives would have somebody to look after them. And they moved to Manchester, and I used to listen to my mum singing in Russian when I was little.
That sounds great.
Sat on the potty.
Did she play balalaika?
No, she didn't. She just sang a cappella, and of course I couldn't understand the words. I could understand Polish.
All right.
Because we spoke Polish at home.
Right.
But the Russian I didn't get. But, oh my God, she's singing this stuff on a company. It was the greatest alto I'd ever heard. And she was singing these songs, and she'd look down at me and smile and say, oh, sing again, and stuff.
But that's the beauty with music. Regardless of language, you understand it.
Yes.
There's a passion or there's an emotion there with it.
Exactly.
And it translates across all platforms, doesn't it?
Exactly, because when people are telling the truth, right, sometimes it's better to not actually get all the words. Yeah. Because if you go and sing in another country and they don't quite understand English, right, if you're telling the truth, they'll get the tones of what you're saying and they go, I don't know what he's saying, but it's amazing. So you get that situations, and that's why people sometimes become successful in other countries sooner than they do at home, because he's just a carpenter from number 13. Yeah. And so you
They get the music.
Yes, they get the music.
I love that about music. I love how music can, touch people emotionally.
Yes.
And it just works across, as I say, all platforms.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It's because I think that, it's that universal language, really. Yeah. It's about the truth, really.
It is the truth. I'm liking that.
If you tell the truth.
Yeah.
If I'll use the northeastern expression, if there's a bairn crying here, we will all go, what?
Yeah.
Because we'll hear exactly what it's saying.
Yeah.
And if it laughs, we all giggle with it.
That's it.
And if musicians do that, they tell the truth. Yeah. People will hear it, even if they don't agree with you.
And that's why people buy into that sort of thing. Yeah.
Because it's in the moment and they can hear it. And because there's so much bull out there.
Yeah.
Right now.
Cows and bulls.
Correct. We who play and hopefully bring a bit of light.
Yeah. Brilliant, man. That's fantastic. Now, you're talking about your mum. I think you've got a picture. Did you say she goes to every gig? Where was it? No.
She goes to every gig.
You take her everywhere, do you?
Yeah, I do. And that's her when she's 12.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's her at her 80th birthday.
Oh, brilliant.
And she's a fantastic lady.
Did she get to see a gig much?
She came from 1965 to 1987. Last time she saw me with David Essex. I was opening for David Essex.
Oh, yeah. Wow. And that's one thing, great you led on to that. You've had quite a bit of sort of interesting people. I would say, it doesn't matter about success, right?
No.
It's good to have success.
Of course.
It's important.
Of course.
But you've played with a lot of people who've been on that higher platform, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've been both as a guest surprise and occasionally opening for people and playing in my own right.
Yeah, brilliant.
By accidentals, Yeah. And by and large, the people were all great.
That's great.
I can name a few who could have done better themselves For themselves,
We'll not
for
get into that
themselves,
detail
not
today,
musically, but could have been a bit more gracious.
Yeah.
And interestingly, both those people were enormously successful financially and were hard work. And people you think were hard work don't end up being so.
Yeah. It's that whole financial thing. We were just talking earlier, weren't we, with, we were setting up about how hard it is nowadays to actually make a living as a musician. It's quite a challenge, isn't it?
It is, yes.
But I still feel young musicians coming up should be encouraged to continue and get through that. It's a mindset of how you do it. I think people have struggled for years being musicians.
Of course, everybody has. It's just part and parcel of it. Even though I don't think that people should be starving in a garret to be creative.
No,
I think that's absolutely. I think when people are relaxed and kind of okay, that's when they're at the most creative.
Pressure's off, sort of thing.
Yeah, one thought, one action. Of course, you'll write things if you're under pressure, but they'll tend to be things where you're trying to survive. Right.
A little bit darker.
The young musicians, certainly, as far as I'm concerned, are what I call quietly confident today.
Yeah.
Because most of their parents either played, definitely went to concerts for the last 40 or 50 years. So when their son or daughter wants to play or wants to sing, they're on you go.
Yeah.
I'll come with you. What for? Well, I've got a guitar, so I need some, you got a guitar, Dad?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I used to be in a band. What? You used to be in a band?
All of a sudden, the credibility goes up the ladder, doesn't it? Yeah.
But because you get that tick of approval, it makes you quietly confident.
Yeah.
You don't have to push other people out of the way.
That's it.
When it first started in the 60s, it was exactly like that.
Right. You're always fighting for that space.
People were pushing. Nobody offered you to do a gig together with that band.
Yeah.
It's us, eh? Even 10 years ago, Oasis cited, and I can't swear apparently, but said, and everybody else is, and that's how it is.
Yeah. That was an attitude, though, wasn't it, for that generation?
Yes.
That's how it works, I think, isn't it?
It is, but I think it's because, by and large, people were desperate to succeed.
Yeah.
Right? It's a revolution. What we do something completely different from my dad. The gavotte became popular because the people who were dancing the madrigal couldn't dance it.
Right.
And it takes on. So rock and roll took over from swing because what's they doing there?
Aye.
So the great leaps forward musically are youth, rebellion, and steps.
It is.
Put those three together, great leap forward. Reggae, soul.
It all comes
punk,
in, doesn't it?
Yes, rock and roll.
Yeah.
So they're not rebelling against the people, they're just saying...
They're looking for their thing. They're looking for their own identity.
Steps. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
and we all do that. Yeah. And as long as we remember that they, enormously talented people about, young people, phenomenal writers.
They're out there, yeah.
Great players, right? Sure. When other musicians disparage them, I get really incensed.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's the only non-competitive thing. You're the only
music isn't competition. That's right.
You're the only version of you that's ever going to be. Yeah. How much more special do you need to be?
It's true, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, what we'll do is I'd love to hear one of your songs. You've written quite a lot, I would imagine.
I've written. I've written.
Few albums worth? Or?
I've written about 260 altogether.
What? 260?
Yeah, something like that. That I'd play to you.
Yeah.
And a few that I think, well, maybe not.
All right, okay. Well, every writer has that sort of thing, isn't it?
It's of course. And some are unfinished and most of them are finished and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have these moments where you're writing one after the other. And a bit of, somebody like yourselves giving me some encouragement, pours a bit of encouragement onto tape, you go back and you write something.
Brilliant one. So let's hear some more. You're going to play for us as your first song?
I'm going to play a song called She Finds Me, which people might like to hear. And basically, it was written in Norway.
Oh, was it?
I was just doing some guitar teching for a band called Teenage Fan Club.
Right.
And the words came to me and I started playing it, and here it comes.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing that.
Okie doke.
Get yourself plugged in and everything's ready to go. Now, that's an interesting guitar mind, isn't it?
It is.
Right.
It's
lovely colour. We'll talk about that after this song.
Fantastic. She finds me slumped behind behind the door. She finds me rolling round her motorhome. She finds me about 7 shillings short of a train ride home. She finds me like a dog inside a hole. She finds me with my hands against the pane. She finds me in a state of some distress, and it makes her cry. I always do my best, but that's not what she always wants. She finds me slumped behind the door. She finds me with my face inside my coat. She finds me about 7 shillings short of a train ride home. I always do my best, but that's not what she always wants. She finds me. She finds me.
Beautiful. Get out. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, that.
Thank you.
Well, that's a great song. I love that song.
Thank you
So
so
you wrote that for somebody else, or did you?
I wrote it by default. It's become apparent why I wrote it now. It became apparent last night.
Did it?
Yeah, because my daughter's ex-boyfriend turned up at the house completely wet, who's been having some mental problems, and saying I've got nowhere to go. And Karen and I said, in you come, etc., you know. And he's a lovely boy. He's had lots of problems trying to get work and stuff. He's a very, very phenomenal artist.
Really?
Oh, you know, I mean, can't get jobs. 6 years without work, you know.
It's a challenge.
Going, applying for jobs, getting refused, applying jobs being refused, applying jobs being refused.
Yeah.
You don't have the art of being... you go to an interview, you tick no boxes.
That's it.
You have no self-belief.
But you have a great gift. What are you going to do? Yeah.
So creativity, as we say, is the key.
Yeah.
And what happened was, when I wrote the song, the lighting designer who was working was in the venue. I can't remember what the venue's called in Oslo. Came down. Said, what's that song? I said, is that one of Tina? I said, no, I've just been writing it. So he said, can I record it? So we went into the stairwell.
Did you?
And he got his phone and he recorded. And at that point, I only had 2 verses and a chorus. You know?
Right.
So he said, thank you very much. They did the show. And at the end of the show, we were packing away. Sorry, I got lost there for a minute, folks. I was packing away. And there was a piano in the green room. And he was sat at the green room on the piano playing the 3 chords.
Right.
With the 2 girls that sing in his band, singing just the line, She Finds Me. And he said, would you sing it? So he started playing it. I started singing it with a coat on and a cigarette, like Frank Sinatra. I mean, really hamming it up, you know. Anyway, I'm singing it. I sing the song. Eventually the band come in and sit down around the room.
Yeah.
All the security people from the venue come and sit down. They're all sat on the floor, listen to me singing this song.
Yeah.
And we finish it, thinking, and look at the girls are crying.
Oh, well,
The lasses are
I
crying.
thought it was amazing that, by the way.
The lasses are crying.
Yeah.
So, finish the tune, the monitor man, Jerry Wilkes, comes up to me afterwards and says, you know why everybody's listening, George? I said, no. He said, it's the greatest anti-drug song that's ever been written.
Really?
What?
Whoa.
His brother.
Really?
Yeah, serious.
Wow.
And of course, they just came through. I didn't stand there with the experience of that, slumped behind the door.
They got
I
it.
always do my best.
They got it.
A train ride home.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah.
Train spotting.
Train spotting, yeah.
So, obviously, boom, I realised.
Well, that was natural. That just came out of you, right?
That just came.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
You know, and of course, Ivan was there last night.
Was he?
You know, and Karen and I try to be buoyant, not uncaring, but
You've got to
like...
be positive, haven't you?
You don't want to say, oh, yes, you are really ill and stuff. So they've been in hospital through the night and stuff. And
hey, well, listen, thank you for leaving home. Thank you for coming up, you know.
Well, it was a two-way thing because of this lass who had done the gig, and I said to Karen, you call me, whatever time, and I'm straight back.
Yeah.
Okay, and so she said, no, we're absolutely fine.
Good.
We're absolutely fine. Vienna's here and stuff. So
good.
The song
well,
has its purpose.
Of course it does. Well, let's hope it gets out to the people and other people hear that, and along with that story, understand the implications.
Exactly.
And hopefully, you know.
The people are doing the best all the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't see it.
No.
And we can only do our best.
You can only do, I heard somebody say you can only do your bestest.
That's
once,
it.
many years ago, and it's true, isn't it? You can only do your best.
I've tried to cook something badly.
Yeah.
I've got flour and thrown it in, and then some mustard, you know, and then thrown some cherries in, and after about 2 minutes, you take it and you throw it away.
Yeah.
Because you can only do your best.
Yeah.
Do something well. And even if we're going to go and throw stones through that window, we'll pick the best stones to do it.
That's right.
Not encouraging people to throw stones, but
That's right, yeah.
it's your nature to do.
It is.
And that's why they put rubbers on the end of pencils.
Is it? Because you may correct it. Very good, very good. So, anyway, we're going to move on slightly.
Okay.
I love the fact you work with all these different people.
Yes.
Now, I heard a rumour, and I don't know how far it's true, and I'm going to bring it up, and you know what's coming.
I do.
Is it true? Is the word Guitar George, or Guitar George, he knows all the chords? Is it you? And do you know all the chords?
Well, lots of people believe it to be me, right?
Yeah.
And they believe it to be me because before they were famous, we did a gig at the gallery, what was it called? I can't remember now. Oh, Rafters in Manchester.
Rafters, okay. Yeah.
A guy called Dougie James. I'm not going to go into the whole story because but basically what happened was we were invited. I was in a band, The Out, the same gentleman who built the bass guitar.
Right.
All right, in the same band. We were invited by a guy called Dougie James, who was a famous kind of club soul singer, a great guy. He was running Rafters, like there was a gig called in Liverpool called Eric's, and that was a kind of sister club.
It? Right.
So you went, did Eric's, then you came and did Rafters on the Friday.
Right.
You know.
Moved around there.
So Dougie wanted to open on the Mondays and Tuesdays, so he started running gigs on, and I was running a bookies round the corner.
A bookies?
And Dougie loves a bet.
Does he?
He had horses and stuff. Oh, George, what are you doing? So I said, well, I'll run the bookies here for Seymour and Stories. Yeah. Sorry for the sale.
No,
They've gone now, so it doesn't matter.
Moved on.
And he said, oh, brilliant. Puts his bet on. He says, oh, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm playing in a band called The Out. So he said, well, I need a band for Monday and Tuesdays to open for all these bands that are coming because I'm going to do more kind of rock and mainstream acts. Right. So we ended up opening for Heavy Metal Kids.
Right.
And
for Kiss?
Pardon?
For Kiss?
For heavy metal kids.
Oh, right. Heavy
Gary
Metal Kids,
Holton,
sorry.
Gary Holton.
Yeah.
And then for British Lions, who were Mott the Hoople, obviously, without to Trapeze.
Yeah.
A fantastic band from Edinburgh called Café Jacques.
Right.
Who I remember I found it was so interesting because the drummer set up over there, the keyboard set over there, kind of in a heavy semicircle, drummer back. It was just a great presentation. Never heard anything of them again, but fantastic band. And then one night, Dire Straits were on.
Right. Mark Knopfler, Dire Straits.
And there it is, you know, and we come in, and I say to Joe, the singer, Joe Roberts, I said, he's good, isn't he? He can play a bit. She sounds just like J.J.
Used to live
Cale.
round here, you know.
I
Used
know
to live round here.
he's local boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right. So he's playing the guitar, you know, like we're going phenomenal, you know. Right. And they finish their sound check and they go, and we play ours, sound check. Halfway through our gig, they come in. And there's not many people there. There's maybe 20, 30 people at the gig.
Right.
And I would say probably 20 of them have come to see us because we're from Manchester.
Okay.
Anyway, they're phenomenal. So he comes after the show and says, that's a great guitar sound. So he ended up playing this for 20 minutes or so and really loved the original neck. And I said, well, you can have the guitar.
Yeah.
I said, you're an amazing player. I said, but it's not a trophy. And all those songs you heard were written with the guitar against my chest. So this isn't to hang up on the wall. But he said, but I love it. I said, well, you can have it. I can't sell it to you. I said, because it's 18 quid.
Right.
But you can have it.
You give him a guitar?
I offered him the guitar.
All right.
I can't take a guitar. So they went and played the show. And that was it. And about 3 months later, somebody phoned up, George, there's a verse about you.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, it'd be nice to have a verse.
It would be a lovely...
So it's a well-renowned song.
Well, Tony Wilson said to me once, George, if it's the myth or the truth, and I'm not name dropping, because I didn't really know Tony until very close to his death. Yeah. I said, I tell you actually, Tony, I don't think it is about me. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he wrote the song before he met me.
Might be worth doing a little bit of research.
Right? Yeah. And then other people have kind of thought, and I always... For about 2 weeks, it was great.
Yeah.
Obviously, what a lovely compliment to be in a song by somebody.
Yeah.
But people want to believe it. Fantastic.
I've got to say, I remember hearing that as a youth, 13, 14-year-old.
Yes.
That verse always stood out to me. Yeah. And I tell you what, the fact that George is in the kitchen today has made me so actually very, very happy.
Well, I have to say, with my hand on my heart, I'm not certain, and I'm certainly pretty certain it probably isn't, but the myth has become greater than the myth has become greater than the reality.
Well, ride the wave, whatever it is. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Well, what I would love to do, I mean, because we're having a good chat.
Okay.
What I'd love to do is do one more song. I'm going to close this show out.
Okay.
We'll do one more song for you to finish it.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and do another show, if that's okay with you.
That would be fantastic.
All right. So, Dan, I'll have a little chat and I'll just say thanks to George for coming up today. We're going to do another episode with him, so you'll have to tune in and watch that as well. What's the song you're going to finish off?
I'm going to play a song called Blue Guitars of Texas.
Blue Guitars of Texas. So we're going to pass it over to George to close us out, and then we'll come back in a little bit and catch up with you next week.
Thank you very much for a fantastic day. When the blue guitars of Texas meet the best of Tennessee, there'll be 500,000 cowboys standing up just to see girls from Brooklyn softly swaying in the breeze when the blue guitars of Texas meet the best of Tennessee. Drummers from Georgia with their hands by their side, drovers from Denver just along for the ride, piano playing captain sailing in from New Orleans when the blue guitar of Texas the best of Tennessee, rolling over the mountain, drifting in from the rain. Cowboys from Wyoming, driving trucks across the plain. Grown men crying as the stars come out to sea. Texas, meet the best of Tennessee. Sweet, sweet, sweet senorita, jumping down from the train. Cowboy